Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef, and in this episode of Cooking and Camping with the Step-by-Step Chef, I am out in the middle of nowhere. I am like a couple of ridges away from Mount St. Helens, which blew its top when I was a mere lad of in 1980. And I love this park. It's just beautiful. You got to see it. It's just stunning what went on here. And the evidence 40 years later still exists. So you got to take a look. There are trees laid out because the blast came over and knocked them down. 40-year-old trees. I'm just saying. Well, but let's get back to cooking. This is what the show's about. When I say that I'm primitive camping and I am starving, what do you think of as a meal to have in this situation? That's right, supercharged primitive camping bolognese with spaghetti. We are going to make a bolognese that has some spinach in it, some onion in it, and some spices, and it is also going to have some burger in it, and that's going to supercharge you through your hike tomorrow. Or if you're making it at home, it's going to get you through the day in Manhattan. So somehow this primitive bolognese will benefit all of humanity. That's just the way I am. I know. So come on, let's cook. So here are the ingredients for our primitive camping supercharged bolognese. First of all, I have a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. I like the crushed tomatoes. They have a nice presence to them. They're not pushovers like tomato sauce, and they're not too thick. So they're just perfect. You can also use a commercial spaghetti sauce if you want, and just start with everything, all the spices already in it, and then add some of the other ingredients. The other thing I have is a small can of tomato paste. I have some dried Italian seasonings, and we'll use about a tablespoon, well, actually, let's say a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of this, because they can be very potent. We're going to use a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I have a bag of baby spinach. There's a good supercharged vegetable for you that's going to be mixed into this. I, of course, have grated cheese, and we have salt to taste, so that's all set. I have angel hair pasta, because when you're camping, you want pastas that cook fast. And angel hair pasta, basically spaghetti, is very thin, so it cooks very fast. I have just over a half a pound of hamburger here. I have 2 garlic cloves. I have a red onion that actually just starred. Maybe you recognize it. It just starred in our video on how to make meatloaf burgers. Oh, they're so tasty. I have water to cook the spaghetti in, and I have bear spray, which you're probably not going to need that at home, and we're not going to add it to the recipe. But I am cooking literally out in bear country, so I like to have that handy. A little bear banaka can go a long ways when you're cooking in the outback. Now, I've only had a couple of bear encounters in 20 years, so the odds of running into them is pretty slim, but you do kind of want to be prepared. And if you check out my site, StepByStepChef.com, I go further in depth into camping in my Cooking and Camping with the Step-by-Step Chef series. That's an ingredient, literally an ingredient, you probably won't see on Rachel Ray unless Dr. Phil is a guest star. So keep that in mind. Bear spray if you're camping out in the middle of bear country, because they will absolutely love this dinner. So let me show you how to put all this together. Now, in keeping with our Cooking and Camping with the Step-by-Step Chef series, I am trying to keep the prep time to a minimum. Because if you've been out hiking and having a good day, you don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, but you do want a delicious, hearty meal at the end of the day. And I do have recipes on StepByStepChef.com that are more complicated, that make some of these dishes in a little different way, and they will taste a little bit differently. So you can sample all those different ways. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just cutting the top of our star red onion. I've cut it parallel lines close together. Now I'm doing perpendicular to form little squares on the top, so we can end up with our 1/4 cup of red onion. You can also use yellow, white, you name it, whatever onion you have on hand, and then we just cut down the face, and this will mince the onion up the way we like it. This will add a real freshness to this dish. And you can add other ingredients if you want. You can add, mushrooms and peppers and all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to sneak some veggies into your diet. And trust me, when you're traveling, when you're camping, you need your veggies. You just do. You need them. And they will make you feel better. They'll keep you on schedule, so to speak. And you'll enjoy your time more if you keep the veggies coming. And so we're just going to mince up the little strips that didn't get minced. Now I'm working on a mini table, like I told you, out in the middle of nowhere. So, it's a little challenging. So if I'm a little bit less than graceful, so what? That's the way it goes. But I love to cook and I love to eat fresh food, and this is what I have to do it. Sometimes I have to be in slightly uncomfortable circumstances to get the cooking done. And I really do. I really do cook like this when I am out camping. I mean, there are times when I'll just throw a bunch of canned stuff together just to eat fast because I got in late from a hike. But in general, I try to eat healthy. And now we're taking our garlic. And if you have your crusher, your handy crusher, use that. I don't have it with me. I left it at home, almost on purpose, because they're a little bit difficult to clean out in the field. So we're just going to mince this garlic, finely mince it with the onion, and it just adds a nice complementary taste to our camping bolognese. So let's just cut these tops off, take the papers off, of course, take the skins off, and then we'll just give a little bit of a mince. And you can add more or less garlic or no garlic at all, depending on your taste. You can add powdered garlic if you want. Be a little careful if you add garlic salt, because it does have salt in it. And if you add a lot of it, it will absolutely salt up your dinner. So you've got to be real sparing with any of the spices that are mixed in with salt, because you just don't want something that's you can't taste the other ingredients because of sodium. So here we go. So I'm just giving it a little mince. And I don't even mind if I have little chunks of the garlic in this, because that's kind of a reward. I've actually served dishes where people go, hey, that was garlic. Yeah, that was garlic. That was a piece of garlic you just bit into. And it's very tasty, especially for us garlic lovers. If you hate garlic, you probably don't think so. And then I'm just going to cut this down a little bit. I think you get the point. So I'm going to meet you over at the stove. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, knowing that you read the instructions on how to use your propane stove, is light the burner for the water. Especially if you're at altitude, you want to get this started because it can take a little bit longer. So we're just putting that water on high. That's to make our spaghetti. And the other thing we're going to do is light our sauce pot. This is our bolognese sauce pot. So the same thing. I hear the hiss. Light it up. This doesn't need a heck of a lot of preheat. This is a very thin pan. So I'm going to add our olive oil to it. Drop our burgers in there. We'll brown up the burgers. You can hear that hissing. It's going to be a quick process. And of course, we don't want whole hamburgers in our bolognese, so we're going to break it up and just fry it up. And when it browns, once it reaches that point where it's brown, we'll add the veggies and start sauteing them in with it too. So because we're breaking up the burger, this process should take 5 to 10 minutes. And I have the heat on medium-high. You might have to adjust yours up or down, but just make sure that the burger's cooking, because that's the point. We want to brown the burger. Okay, so here we are 5 minutes into the process. The burger's starting to brown up nicely. I'm adding the Italian seasoning to the burger because the burger will have its own presence if we get it spiced before we add the other veggies. So be a little bit sparing in your use of the Italian seasons. Add just enough. If you add too much, you can't take it out. So be just a little bit sparing. And they are pretty powerful. They're potent. And here comes our salt. And I just love to do this because the burger will have just a little slightly different taste than everything else in the bolognese. Let's stir that in. Yep, that'll be good. And then the next thing we're going to do is take our onions and garlic and add them. So get a nice saute right into the meat. Let everyone get to know each other. It's kind of a bolognese social. Everyone's adding flavor to everyone else. Things going on in here that maybe the Park Service does not approve of, but it will taste delicious. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is let these vegetables saute for 5 minutes into the burger. Then we'll add the spinach and we're going to wilt that down. And then we'll add the sauce, stir it up, and we're ready to eat. So I'll be right back. And 5 minutes later, I can see that the onions are turning translucent. They are nice and sauteed. I can smell the garlic and onions and other ingredients. So now what we're going to do is just wilt our spinach down in it. And when you wilt the spinach, just add it gradually. Don't add the whole bag all at once. You want it to wilt down, and then you'll add some more spinach, and it gets tiny. And you will basically be eating one salad with every forkful of this bolognese. It is that potent. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I had some technical difficulties with my usual rig, so I switched over to my phone. And you can see, I'm just stirring the spinach into this, and it's cooking down to nothing. So as it cooks down, you just chuck some more in. It's that simple. And just keep stirring it, it cooks down, and you get all that spinach goodness with the beef, and then we're going to add the tomato, you get your onion, you get your garlic. You have a power dish here. This will get you up the mountain tomorrow. I mean, if St. Helens decided to detonate tomorrow, I will be the first one jumping over the ridge to safety, just based on this dish. So I'll be back after I get all of this wilted down. Okay, so look at this. That whole thing, that whole bag of delicious and nutritious spinach has wilted down to nothing. Now we're adding our crushed tomatoes, and I'm going to spoon in the tomato paste. I can't show it to you because I'm working with one hand right now, but I will spoon that in to thicken it up, and our spaghetti water is rolling. So once this starts to heat up, I will add the spaghetti, which takes 5 minutes, and we will be rolling. We will be having a delicious Italian dinner out in the middle of nowhere. So you can see the crushed tomatoes and the tomato paste are all in there, and I'm just stirring it all up. And it's just going to heat up. All those flavors get to know each other. You can cover the pan, leave it for about 15 minutes, get everything all acquainted. And once those tastes are all mixed in, you're going to have this rich, tasty camping bolognese. This will be a hit, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. So I'm just going to give it a little stir, cover it, give it a little stir. Like I said, it'll take about 15 minutes. You can cook it longer if you have the time, but I'm thinking 15 is about right. And then I'm going to get the spaghetti ready. It's all going to dovetail, and I'll be ready to eat. So congratulations, look at what you just did. You just made this delicious, supercharged bolognese. It has so many vitamins, it has protein, it has carbos, it's rounded. You put that on spaghetti, you're golden. Now, you just made this. If you like this recipe, please go to my website, StepByStepChef.com. There you will find over 175 free printable recipes, including this one, accompanied by free videos. You get to hang out with me and I show you step by step how to make so many different breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. I think you'll absolutely adore it. I do. My mother does. She loves it. The other thing you will find there, since we're doing cooking and camping with the Step-by-Step Chef, is step-by-step videos on how to camp. I'm going to show you how to tent camp, but it also has value for you glampers, you RVers, you cabin people, and the people who just throw a tarp on the ground and hope for the best. That's not me. I'm a tent camper. So anyways, please do visit my site. I am Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And I also look forward to licking into this. I'm starving.